Are you waking up tired even after a full night in bed, staring at the ceiling in the quiet hours, wondering why your body doesn't feel restored anymore? Are erections weaker than they used to be, energy fading earlier in the day, and sleep feeling lighter, more fragile, no matter how early you turn in? These are struggles many men carry silently, assuming it's just age and nothing can be done. I'm a board-certified urologist, and for more than 20 years I've sat across from men over 50 who felt confused, frustrated, and quietly worried about these exact changes in their bodies. I listen to these concerns every single day, and tonight I want to show you why one simple, overlooked nighttime habit may be influencing all three. Before we begin, tell me where you're watching from, and if men's health matters to you, like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. But here's what most men don't realize, and it's something I see every single week in my clinic. When erections weaken, energy fades, and sleep becomes lighter after 50, most men assume these are three separate problems. One is a bedroom issue, one is just getting older, and sleep, well, that's stress or bad luck. So they chase three different solutions, get three different answers, and still don't feel like themselves. What I want you to understand is that your body doesn't work in pieces. These changes are connected, and they're connected for a reason. I often tell my patients this: your symptoms are not failures, they're signals. Your body is trying to communicate that something deeper has shifted. When I sit with men in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, I hear the same story told in different ways. Doc, I'm sleeping, but I'm not rested. My drive isn't what it used to be. I'm tired by mid-afternoon. These men are still sharp, still active, still motivated. They just don't feel supported by their own biology anymore, and that's an important distinction. One of the biggest shifts that happens after 50 involves testosterone, but not in the way most people think. It's not just about low numbers on a lab test. What changes first is rhythm. Testosterone is meant to rise and fall in a predictable pattern, with important pulses happening at night during deep sleep. As we age, that rhythm becomes disrupted. The signal weakens, the timing gets sloppy, and when that happens, the effects show up everywhere: libido, erections, muscle recovery, mood, and energy. It's subtle at first, but it compounds year after year. At the same time, there's another quiet change happening inside the blood vessels. Nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for healthy blood flow and firm erections, naturally declines with age. But again, this isn't just about erections. Nitric oxide also supports circulation to the brain, the heart, and muscles. When levels drop, men often feel colder, stiffer, and more fatigued. Erections become less reliable, not because desire is gone, but because the plumbing and signaling aren't as responsive as they once were. Then there's the nervous system, and this is the piece almost no one talks about. As men age, especially after years of stress, responsibility, and poor sleep habits, the nervous system tends to stay stuck in a state of overdrive. Even at night, you lie down, but your body doesn't fully power down. Your mind may feel tired, but your system stays alert, guarded, almost on edge. This overactivation interferes with deep sleep, blocks nighttime hormone release, and keeps the body from entering true recovery mode. I hear men describe it perfectly. I'm exhausted, but I can't fully relax. This is why the idea of normal aging is incomplete and, frankly, misleading. Yes, aging changes the body. But what I see repeatedly in my patients is not a body that's broken. It's a body that's under-supported. When testosterone rhythm, nitric oxide production, and nervous system balance all decline together, the result is exactly what you're experiencing: weaker erections, lower energy, and shallow sleep. Not because you failed, not because it's over, but because the system that once worked effortlessly now needs intentional support. And here's the part I want you to really hear. These changes don't mean you're less of a man. They don't mean your best years are behind you. They mean your body is asking for a different approach than it did at 30 or 40. When men understand this, I see something shift emotionally. The shame softens, the frustration eases, relief sets in, because suddenly the story changes from what's wrong with me to what is my body missing. Once you see erections, energy, and sleep as connected, the path forward becomes clearer. You stop fighting isolated fires and start addressing the root. And that's where real improvement begins. But this understanding also reveals something uncomfortable. There is one simple nighttime mistake that keeps this entire cycle stuck for millions of men, even those who eat well and stay active. And this brings us to the one nighttime mistake almost every man makes without realizing it. But here's what most people don't realize, and it's one of the most overlooked truths in men's health. Your body does its deepest repair at night, not during the day. Most men focus on what they take, how much they take, or what they do in the morning to feel better. But biology doesn't care about convenience. It cares about timing. And when it comes to hormones, recovery, and sexual function, the nighttime window is where everything either gets restored or slowly falls apart. I explain this to my patients in simple terms. Testosterone is not meant to be produced evenly all day long. It pulses, and its most important surges happen while you're asleep, especially during deeper stages of sleep. This is when your brain sends the strongest signals to your testes, telling them it's safe, it's calm, and it's time to rebuild. When that signal is weak or interrupted, testosterone doesn't just drop in number, it loses its effectiveness. You may still be within range on paper, but your body isn't using it the way it once did. After sunset, your nervous system is supposed to shift gears. During the day, you run on the sympathetic system, the drive, focus, and stress response that helps you work and solve problems. At night, your body should transition into the parasympathetic state, the calm, restorative mode responsible for digestion, hormone release, tissue repair, and deep sleep. This shift is not automatic anymore for many men. Years of late nights, screens, caffeine, and constant mental pressure keep the system stuck in high alert. You lie in bed, but your body doesn't get the message that it's time to recover. This is why sleep duration alone is not the answer. I see men who sleep 7 or even 8 hours and still wake up drained. It's not about how long you're in bed. It's about how deep your body is able to go. Deep sleep is where testosterone pulses, nitric oxide pathways reset, and the nervous system finally stands down. Without that depth, sleep becomes more like restlessness than restoration. You wake up feeling like you never truly shut off because biologically you didn't. Now let's talk about the things that quietly sabotage this window. Stimulants are a big one. Caffeine late in the day doesn't just keep you awake, it keeps your nervous system on edge long after you fall asleep. Screens are another. The light, the stimulation, the constant information all tell your brain it's still daytime. And stress, especially unprocessed stress, may be the biggest blocker of all. Worry, responsibility, and that constant mental replay at night keep your body in a defensive posture when it should be repairing. This is where hope comes in, because this window is incredibly powerful. Small changes made at the right time have outsized effects. I've seen men make modest adjustments, not drastic overhauls, and suddenly sleep deepens, morning energy improves, and erections become more reliable again. Not because they forced the body, but because they finally worked with its natural rhythm instead of against it. There is also a common misunderstanding I want to clear up. Taking something in the morning to fix a nighttime problem rarely works. You can't stimulate your way into recovery. You can't override a missed nighttime signal with more effort during the day. The body needs support when it's actually doing the work, and that work happens after the lights go out. This is why timing often matters more than dosage. and why the same nutrient taken at the wrong time can do almost nothing. When men hear this, I often see curiosity replace frustration, because suddenly the solution doesn't feel overwhelming, it feels precise. One small intentional change at night can create leverage across testosterone, energy, sleep, and sexual function. And this is exactly where things start to get interesting. Now let me show you the specific nutrient that supports this window and why taking it at night changes everything. But here's what most people don't realize, and this is where the confusion finally clears. The vitamin I'm talking about isn't a stimulant, a hormone, or a drug. It's not something that forces your body to do anything unnatural. It's something your body already relies on every single night to calm down, repair itself, and restore the systems that support erections, energy, and deep sleep. That vitamin is magnesium. Now, when I say magnesium, I want you to forget the way it's usually talked about. This isn't about taking a pill and expecting an overnight miracle. I frame magnesium to my patients as support, not replacement. It doesn't override your biology. It helps your biology do what it's already designed to do, especially after 50, when internal reserves quietly decline. Magnesium plays a critical role in nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is what allows blood vessels to relax and widen, which is essential for firm, reliable erections. As men age, nitric oxide availability drops, not because desire disappears, but because the biochemical environment becomes less supportive. Magnesium helps activate the enzymes involved in this process. When levels are adequate, blood flow improves naturally. When they're low, erections often feel weaker, slower to respond, or less consistent. This is one of the reasons magnesium keeps coming up when I review labs and symptoms together with my patients. Magnesium also supports testosterone signaling, and this part is often misunderstood. It doesn't boost testosterone in an artificial way. Instead, it helps free testosterone interact more effectively with target tissues. Testosterone is only useful if your cells can respond to it. Magnesium supports that communication. It also plays a role in reducing excess binding proteins that make testosterone less available. This is why some men have numbers that look acceptable but still feel flat. The signal is there, but it's not getting through clearly. Then there's the nervous system, which may be magnesium's most underappreciated role. Magnesium helps quiet excessive neural firing. It tells your nervous system that it's safe to relax. That's essential at night. Remember, deep sleep, hormone release, and recovery only happen when the body feels secure enough to let go. When magnesium levels are low, the nervous system stays tense. Men describe it as feeling wired but tired. They fall asleep, but they don't drop into the deeper stages where real repair happens. Magnesium helps lower that internal volume. This is where timing becomes everything. Taken during the day, magnesium may help muscles or digestion, but it doesn't fully align with its most powerful role. At night, when your body is naturally trying to shift into parasympathetic mode, magnesium works with that transition instead of against it. It supports relaxation, sleep depth, nighttime hormone pulses, and vascular recovery. Same nutrient, completely different impact. That's why so many men say, I tried magnesium and it didn't do anything, when in reality they tried it at the wrong time or without understanding its purpose. Another issue I see constantly is that many men are unknowingly deficient. Magnesium depletion is common with age, stress, poor sleep, alcohol, and certain medications. And because deficiency symptoms are vague, fatigue, poor sleep, irritability, weaker erections, it often goes unnoticed. Men don't realize something foundational is missing. Others take it inconsistently or stop too soon, expecting immediate results instead of gradual restoration. Clinically, when I talk to patients about magnesium, I emphasize realism and patience. This isn't about chasing a spike. It's about rebuilding a nightly foundation. When magnesium is reintroduced at the right time, many men notice that sleep becomes deeper first. then energy improves, then erections become more reliable, not because magnesium is acting alone, but because it's allowing the system to function the way it's supposed to. And when men reach this point in the conversation, I see confidence replace skepticism. Things start to make sense. The body isn't fighting them, it's responding to support. But here's the part that matters just as much as taking it. Because taking magnesium alone isn't enough. And this next part is where most men fail. But here's where most men unknowingly sabotage their own progress. And I want to approach this gently, because this isn't about blame, it's about awareness. I've seen men do the right thing, take the right nutrient and still get disappointing results, simply because a few small habits were working against them. The good news is that once you see these patterns, they're easy to correct. One of the biggest issues is absorption. Magnesium doesn't work in isolation. Certain things can block how well your body takes it in or uses it. Large, heavy meals late at night can interfere with absorption, especially meals high in processed carbohydrates or sugar. Alcohol is another major factor. Even moderate evening drinking can blunt magnesium's calming effect on the nervous system and disrupt sleep architecture. Men are often surprised to learn that their nightcap may be undoing the very benefits they're hoping to gain. Timing mistakes are also common. Some men take magnesium too early in the evening, before their body is actually transitioning into recovery mode. Others take it sporadically, a few nights here and there, and expect consistent results. Biology doesn't respond well to inconsistency. Your nervous system and hormonal pathways need repeated, predictable signals to adjust. This is why I emphasize routine over intensity. You don't need to do more, you need to do it regularly. Caffeine is another hidden saboteur. Even if you fall asleep easily, caffeine lingering in your system can keep your nervous system subtly activated through the night. This blocks the depth of sleep, where magnesium does its best work. Screens and late-night mental stimulation have a similar effect. They send mixed signals to the brain, telling it to stay alert when it should be winding down. Magnesium can help, but it can't fully override a body that's being told to stay on guard. Late meals are worth mentioning again, because this is a habit many men fall into without thinking. Eating too close to bedtime diverts energy toward digestion when the body should be focusing on repair. Blood flow shifts, insulin rises, and sleep becomes lighter. Magnesium works best when the body is calm, not busy processing a heavy dinner. Simple adjustments here can dramatically improve results. What I want you to hear is this: you don't need a perfect routine. You need a supportive one. Consistency beats intensity every time. A simple, repeatable nighttime pattern allows magnesium to do its job night after night. Over time, the nervous system settles, sleep deepens, and the hormonal environment improves. This is how lasting change happens, not through force, but through cooperation with your body. When men start to understand this, something powerful happens emotionally. They feel back in control, not in an aggressive way, but in a grounded, self-respecting way. They're no longer reacting to symptoms. They're responding to their body with intention. I often tell my patients that taking care of your sleep, your hormones, and your sexual health is not indulgent, it's responsible. It's an act of respect for the life you're living now. And if you're sitting there wondering whether you've waited too long, whether your body will still respond after years of poor sleep or low energy, I want you to stay with me, because this next part is for you. But here's what I want you to hear now, and I want you to hear it clearly. You are not too late. I've sat with men in their 60s and 70s who believed the window had closed, that the tiredness, the restless nights, and the fading confidence were permanent. And I've watched that belief quietly dissolve as their bodies began to respond. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily, predictably, in a way that restored hope as much as health. Your body is not failing you. It's responding to the signals it's been given. For years, maybe decades, it's been asked to push, perform, and endure. Stress, poor sleep, missed recovery. Over time, the system adapts. It conserves, it protects. That's not weakness, that's intelligence. And when you finally give your body the signals it needs to repair, it remembers what to do. I tell my patients this all the time. The body wants to heal, it wants to restore balance, but it can't do that in an environment that never slows down. When you support nighttime recovery, when you calm the nervous system, when you respect sleep instead of fighting it, powerful things begin to happen. Energy returns in small but meaningful ways. Mornings feel clearer, strength feels more accessible, erections become more reliable, not forced, but natural again. You are not behind. There is no schedule you've missed. Health is not a race. Confidence is not reserved for younger men. Intimacy, deep sleep, and steady energy are not luxuries. They are foundations. They support your heart, your mind, your relationships, and your sense of self. When those pieces are strong, everything else feels more manageable. I want to speak directly to your sense of dignity here. Taking care of your body at this stage of life is not about chasing youth. It's about honoring the years you've lived and the years you still want to live well. There is strength in choosing rest. There is confidence in understanding your biology. And there is masculinity in listening to your body instead of ignoring it. You don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent and kind to yourself. Small, intentional steps taken at the right time can change the trajectory of how you feel. I've seen it too many times to doubt it. And as we close, I want you to know this. You're not alone in this process. There is a community of men walking this path, asking better questions and taking better care of themselves. And that brings us to what comes next. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to start by saying thank you. That tells me you care about your health, your future, and the quality of your life. And that matters more than most people realize. The questions you're asking, the quiet concerns you've carried, they're valid. And you're not the only one thinking about them late at night. If this conversation helped you see your body differently, I invite you to join our community. Subscribe so you don't miss future guidance designed specifically for men like you, men who want clarity, not hype, and support that respects their intelligence and experience. This channel exists so you don't have to navigate these changes alone. As we close the loop from where we began, I want to remind you of something important. That overlooked nighttime vitamin was never meant to be a miracle cure. It was a piece of a larger understanding. When you support your body at the right time, in the right way, it responds. Erections, energy, and sleep don't improve because you forced them. They improve because the system was finally given what it needed to function. You're not broken, you're not failing, your body has been waiting for the right signals, and now you know how to start providing them. You deserve strength that feels natural, not strained. You deserve rest that actually restores you, and you deserve to feel like yourself again, confident, steady, and at ease in your own body. Take care of your health because you are worth it.